It's 1934. You're a 16-year-old boy helping out a motorist who's run out of gas. The driver insists on buying you lunch, but when you walk into the local spot, the waiter straight up says, "We don't serve your kind here, boy." That was Hugh Burnett's reality as a young kid living in Dresden, Ontario. Poor guy couldn't get a sandwich or a haircut because he was black.
Well, that didn't suck. Well, that didn't suck.
So Dresden had that small town vibe. One main street, everyone knows your name. But here's the twist. Dresden was also a special place. One of the last stops on the Underground Railroad, the route taken by slaves escaping bondage in the American South. Except even after they arrived, freedom turned out to have fine print. By the 1940s, a century later, restaurants still turned away black customers, and barbers refused to cut your hair if you didn't have the right skin tone. It's one of those moments in history where you just want to look back and say, wait, did no one see the irony here? Hugh Burnett tried the polite Canadian approach, paperwork and democracy. He asked the town council to pass a bylaw banning discrimination. They said no. Let the people decide. And they did, overwhelmingly voting to keep discrimination legal. Not exactly the proudest day for Canadian democracy. You can imagine Hugh looking around. Really? We just fought a world war for freedom and this is where we draw the line? Hugh didn't stop there. He and a few others started the National Unity Association, a group fighting for equal rights, no cap. Gradually, their story caught fire. Newspapers picked it up. Politicians started sitting up. Ontario's Premier, Leslie Frost, had already banned discrimination in hiring. So Hugh and his group asked the obvious next question. If it's wrong to discriminate when you're giving someone a job, why is it okay when you're giving them a sandwich? Frost was like, okay, yeah, that ain't right. And in 1954, Ontario passed the Fair Accommodation Practices Act. Yeah, that's a mouthful, but it made it illegal for businesses to refuse service because of race. And that was massive. Of course, passing a law doesn't magically fix people's attitudes. It's not like a TikTok stitch that burns up the internet and shames people into being decent. So Hugh Burnett and his group decided to test it. They walked into restaurants, politely ordered meals, and waited, sometimes for a very long time. They documented what happened, every refusal, every awkward silence, and soon the story hit the national media. Dresden became ground zero for Canada's civil rights movement, and suddenly the whole country was watching. But doing the right thing isn't always safe. The first prosecutions failed. Judges just didn't want to see it, and the backlash got real. Hugh and his family received threats. Burnett's carpentry business tanked. Eventually, they had to leave town. This is the kind of moment that requires courage. Easy to admire in hindsight, but terrifying to live through. You can almost imagine Hugh thinking, all this just because I wanted a damn sandwich? No aioli, no side of sweet potato fries, just dignity. Still, history turns slowly until it doesn't. A few years later, those same restaurants were prosecuted and convicted. The fines stuck, the law clicked into action. And one day, members of the National Unity Association walked into one of those restaurants and got served. No drama, no denial, just a nice sandwich. It might not sound like much, but it was everything. Hugh Burnett's story is one of those pieces of Canadian history that makes you stop and think. He didn't have power or wealth or a national platform. This is pre-influencer, no blue check or brand deal, just a spine and a point to prove. He helped change Canadian law, and maybe more importantly, the Canadian mindset. He's one of those heroes you wish were in every history textbook, the kind of person who reminds us that the fight for equality didn't just happen somewhere else, it happened right here in a small Ontario town. And it started with one man who refused to leave without a sandwich. Next time someone says Canada doesn't have a civil rights history, hit them with Hugh Burnett's story on their way into Tim's.
Well, that didn't suck.
All right, listen, you're here. You made it this far. If you like history that's weird, hilarious, and actually worth your time, this is your place. Smash that subscribe button and follow us on the socials. Trust me, this won't suck.